Welcome back to Filmonomics is Slated. I'm Steph Paterno, and this week we're picking up where we left off with the last segment, right on the heels of the Days and Nights premiere in New York City, which was quite a star-studded event. Now let's hear from the director and producers of Days and Nights and why they felt it was so important to have a very strong team when going into production, and how Slated's vetted community was able to help them in that mission.
The casting was, really spot on. Carrie Barden, Paul Schnee, Alison Estrin, they were wonderful casting directors that really helped guide us and our ship. And again, the team is so important. It's about delegating. I mean, I think you guys did that so well.
I think that was the one thing we always said is, because we're new producers, first film, we always said, let's identify the problem and then let's find the person in the world who's absolutely the best at it and beg them. And that was ultimately, I think, what we use at every step of trying to learn.
I think actually surrounding yourself with people who are brilliant at what they do is really the key, because then your ability for it to be successful is sort of multiplied so quickly. With Carrie Barden, Paul Schnee, and Alison Estrin, you look at the roster of films that they've cast and their access to actors and also being actors. How wonderful they are when you go in and audition for them, and the way that they set up their room and the process that obviously it's very clear how good they are at what they do. So Christian, I think, reached out to Carrie very early on and just said please, and Carrie said yes. And so I think I think it's really by seeing the body of work and also being in the industry, we're lucky enough to know about the behind the scenes, how they work, how they do things, what kind of environment they create.
But I do think this brings up an interesting point, thinking about Slated as a community, because when we started, Slated was in baby steps, right, and was really still better, was first, and I mean, I started when we discussed doing this project. The first thing I did was I bought Filmmaking for Dummies. Yes. And their budget descriptions are $2,000 and borrow the VHS camera from your grandmother. So realized that wasn't maybe quite the right fit. And so you realize you really don't know anything, and you need to figure out where you're going to learn. And I love data, so I was always looking at numbers. But even a year later, those numbers were irrelevant with this industry being in upheaval as it is. And so to me, actually looking now at the Slated community as it has grown, it is an incredible resource to, you would have a person in their email to call and ask advice on, be it casting, be it, it's all there. And that wasn't there when we started. And so it's been amazing in parallel watching that take shape.
The also wonderful thing about it is it's been vetted for you, pre-vetted, so that when you do go on and you look at who you're connected to, or you ping someone or someone pings you, it's already had a stamp of, you can probably trust what's going on in this forum. So that was really key.
And I have to say, sometimes that was frustrating, because I was like, no, we have the money. And they go, well, show that, Slated was like, well, let's see it. And, let's prove it to me that you have the money. And I, well, but they said they would. And actually, it was like, for me as an investor, I would be very comfortable knowing that someone on my end was going, they really did their homework, because we had to really prove that we were a legitimate film, and so
and just
poster
saying,
child for that vetting system that really does work.
No, and I love that you couldn't just say Jean-Marie was saying you need to send the letter. Like, all of those proof systems are wonderful, so you really trust the data, which to me that was key. What was amazing for us with Slated was that it allowed you to reach investors you didn't know and who had a natural interest either in the script, the story, the cast, whatever it be. And because Slated was really at the time starting out, I was very fortunate to be introduced to Steph, who really became a mentor and a guide in many ways. And so through Steph, to be able to create a syndicate on Slated was an incredible opportunity, but it also allowed us not to deal with 8 or individuals, and so that he took that off our shoulders, which if you're working like we are doing, you're barely sleeping, to have somebody who actually says, what, I love this project, I'm going to helm it, and under my umbrella we will take care of it, was an incredible thing to that was a gift, it really was.
Well, it certainly was a very exciting film to be a part of. It was actually one of Slated's first projects, and I wanted to experience what it would be like discovering a project and investing in a project on Slated, and I couldn't have been happier finding Days and Nights. It wasn't too difficult either convincing other investors to come along once they saw the team, the caliber of the team. That usually means everything, but on top of it, there was a great script to go with it, so we're all very happy to be part of that film. Now, there's more I'd like to talk about regarding Days and Nights. However, we're going to save that for the next segment. Thanks for tuning in as usual. Don't forget to subscribe by clicking over here. See you soon.